Hi, I'm Ryan Palmer, gear editor of Bike Magazine, and we're here at the 2016 Bible of Bike Tests in beautiful Vermont. We're at East Burke, and we're riding the Kingdom Trails. Today we're talking about the Juliana Furtado, and this is the second generation Furtado. It's gone through a few changes, such as getting boost 148 rear spacing, shorter chain stays, and they've slackened the head degree a little bit, and it's also matched in travel, front and rear. It's 130 front and rear. It's a pretty exciting new bike. What'd you guys think about it?
I mean, it just rocked on the descents. I mean, it felt like I could close my eyes and go down the descent, which is not so different from normal. But it felt really, really good. You're talented.
If I had to sum this up in kind of one thought, the bike climbed and descended like a 150 mil bike for me. It descended like it had more travel, but you climbed with it, and it was a bit sluggish.
Right.
Do you think you had, like, where was your suspension? Did you have it in?
I had it in a trail mode, or like the mid-range mode. And we were climbing some fairly technical stuff on that lap. Some steep stuff too. Right. I mean, it's still, like, you know, I made it, but it was just, I kind of noticed that it was like a little more work to get up some things. Right. And this is a bit of a longer top tube for me, being a shorter person, that it's hard for me to get over the front end on the bike.
Right. This was longer than some of the other bikes. It was like 23 and a half.
23 and a half, I think, which is, this is definitely more of like the long and low geometry. The bottom bracket's 13.2 or something.
13.1.
Definitely feel that too.
Yeah, you have
to
smash some
pedal strikes.
Yes.
But I think the longer, that's probably why I felt a bit more comfortable on it. I'm a couple inches taller, and I think.
But even the small still comes with a 22.6 top tube, which is
in the range of some of the mediums you ride.
It is. But I guess they're coming out with an extra small
in April,
which should be really handy for, again, people who are in that lower height range.
And not only is the top tube fairly long, but the bars are 760. So for me, instead of being like on a 740, I'm out here on a long top tube. It's like I'm kind of choppered out on this thing. So
you might be able to bring that in by having a shorter handlebar.
Exactly.
Which I think
an easy thing to fix, at least.
Definitely. And they widened it. I think, last year I think it came with a 720.
I like having a wider bar and then being able to customize. I think that's really important.
That's
If you give a 720 to everybody, there's going to be women or anybody who's riding the bike that might not like that.
Right. So, you can't make it longer.
Yeah. You can't make it longer, but you can certainly hack it. Spec on it is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a really expensive bike. They have a bunch of, wide range. I think the entry level is 3,600
and what kind
for
of
a carbon
does
frame.
That have on that
it's a mix of XT, SLX, and Dior. I think, and then
different fork rate.
It's got a sector fork, so to get it under $4,000, that it's hard to put a bike on a bike that's under $4,000. But then I guess for 4,600 or so, you can go up to like the next level, which will get you like a 1x11 drivetrain.
That's a great combo, I think, that mid-range offering.
And they have a different level of carbon frame too that adds a little weight but brings the price down. And so there's a lot of options for getting into.
I did appreciate going back to, I prefer a kind of a clean look. And this is a very clean looking bike.
Especially with the 1x.
The 1x, the reverb. There was just not a lot going on up here, which is nice, because I'm focused there as opposed to down here, which I really appreciate.
And the 1x can be a very personal choice for people who prefer the extra range of a 2x versus people who don't need it. Maybe is excessive for where they live.
If I'm getting a little nitpicky, they put 32 tooth front chain rings on these, and I kind of feel like 30 would be a better option. And again, that's not something that's hard to change, but I do think there is still kind of an intimidation in just, that's going to be a wide enough gear range. And I think erring on the side of having a bike that's easier to pedal uphill is probably better than something that might be a little more But this is another one that has 180 mil rotors on it, which is nice
It's
for a
very
women's bike.
confidence
Yeah.
It was definitely, I mean, we started going down, some little jumps came up, and it was just like exciting to get to that and throw this bike around on some,
Right.
on
And
some
even with those shorter
playful bikes.
chainstays.
super playful. I mean, I think this bike, I've always ridden a downhill bike in a bike park, but like I think this would actually be kind of a fun bike on some of the more mellower trails in a bike park where you can just rally down.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I think anyone who's looking for confidence boost on the downhill,
Yes, it's great.
I mean, this does just kind of, you feel like you can really trust this bike.
Yeah.
They changed the shock and they changed the tune of the BPP a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So they've
Make it
added the
tuned around
Evol
lighter,
air
right?
can, which gives like supposed to give better like top end suppleness. But what they also said was by what the combination of them changing the shock and the kinematics a little bit kind of took away the sort of very Santa Cruz wallow in the mid-stroke kind of attribute. Mm-hmm. Did you guys feel, have you noticed that in the past, and did you feel that it was gone? Or is it, I mean, I guess it's kind of a nuanced question, but.
I haven't ridden the bike before, so this is my first time experiencing it.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like this version of the Furtado rides a lot better. I'm not sure. I feel like they've made several changes, so it's hard for me to pinpoint
Right,
exactly.
what's the chainstays, what's,
Yeah, the slacker. I definitely. I think that's why it descends so well. Is it? You know, it is a degree slacker. So I feel like it's really refined. Like all the changes they've made, and you can really overall feel a difference in the bike, having ridden the version 1 Furtado 1.
Yeah.
But I honestly think I would need a bit more time on the suspension to really say whether that's attributed to the change in the VPP.
Right.
Sounds good on paper.
Who's the overall like ideal rider for this bike?
I think it's somebody who wants a bit more of aggressive descending. Even with the shorter travel, I really didn't notice that it was a shorter travel.
Yeah, you can definitely, it definitely feels deeper. I feel like it's definitely a good all-arounder. Like I don't feel like there's a lot you'd come across that this bike wouldn't be able to handle unless you're in a really, somewhere with really steep, burly terrain. But I think for most places this would be a great everyday bike that you could put a lot of miles on and have for a long time.
Yeah.
All right, that was the new Juliana Furtado. Check out more roundtable reels on bikemag.com.